everybody, my name is Beth. I'm a part of the Messy Church team. Messy Church takes place normally on the first Saturday of the month, where we do loads of messy crafts and activities. We hear some stories and we have some songs. Unfortunately, because of the situation at the moment, we were unable to do that, and so we've decided that we'd do some messy crafts online with you. How it's going to work is I'm going to show you 3 different crafts. They're going to use objects that you should be able to find lying around your house, so you won't be restricted on what you can do, and I'll also tell you different ways that you might be able to get involved. And then we're going to hear a story as well that's based around Easter, so you get to hear the Easter story as well. We hope you get something from it, we hope you enjoy what you are doing, and I can't wait to see what outcomes you produce.
Hi guys, I'm Chris. I'm one of the members of the team from Messy Church. I'm going to share with you a little bit about Easter. Easter, in my opinion, is the most important time of the year for Christians. It's a time when we think about when Jesus died for us on the cross. And I say died for us on the cross because he died for me and he died for you as well. He didn't need to go to the cross, he didn't have to, but he chose to because he loves us. Jesus going to the cross, he was taking on all the things that we have done wrong and all the things that we will do wrong. And he's done that because he loves us. But the most important thing about Easter is what happened 3 days after the cross. And that's the day when Jesus rose from the dead. So here's what I want you to do this Easter. When you are at home, when you are tucking into your Easter eggs on Sunday morning, hopefully something that will look a little bit like this. What I want you to do is when you get your egg, when you open it, when you open your egg, hopefully it won't go everywhere, but what you will know is that there's nothing in it, right? Just like there was nothing in the tomb. I'm just going to put this away because I'm going to get chocolate absolutely everywhere. Just because there was nothing in the tomb, because when Mary went to see Jesus, when she went to check on him, check everything was okay, she got there and she was really afraid, she was frightened. Because Jesus wasn't there, she was worried, she was nervous, she wasn't happy. But actually Jesus revealed himself to her. Jesus said, Mary, I'm here. Mary, it's me. You do not need to worry. And Mary was so happy. And that was because Jesus, 3 days after he died on the cross, came back to life. And that's because Jesus defeated death. And Jesus did that was because he wants to have a relationship with you, he wants to have a relationship with me and everybody else. And how amazing is that? That because of that amazing weekend, Jesus and us can be together in a relationship, and we can have a relationship with him that's personal. Isn't that amazing? So when you tuck it into your Easter egg, hopefully in bigger bits than this, remember that for me, because there'll be nothing in your egg, and that reminds us of the tomb that Jesus was in. Thank you. Enjoy doing your crafts, and enjoy your chocolate.
Okay, for the first craft that we are going to do is you are going to need 3 toilet rolls. You are going to need some paper. It doesn't have to be white, it could be any colour of your choice. You're going to need some paint, some glue. If you haven't got glue, you could use sellotape, a stapler. If you're lucky enough to have a hot glue gun, you can use that. And then something to put your paint on. I'm going to be using a paper plate, but that's just to save time on washing up. You'll also need an area that's set out so you are ready to paint. So I put down some newspaper on my table, but if you've got any cloths or any dry white sheets, you can use them as well. So the first stage of this craft is you need to use the toilet rolls. What we are going to do is we are going to make some stamps that look like bunny rabbits. So what you need to do is you need to keep one of these, which is circular, and then the other 2 we are going to turn into ears. Now to do that, what you need to do is you need to pinch one end so that we start to get a teardrop shape. It needs to be pinched all the way down the tube, like so. You'll end up with something that looks something like this. Now what you also need to do is just flatten it out just a little bit, because rabbit ears don't tend to be quite that large, so we want to keep it nice and flat. When you've done that, we're then going to use your PVA and we're going to attach it to the top of the other toilet rolls. Now you can also see that this may look like a flower, so if you wanted to try making a flower with this technique, you could do that as well. What you will do is you'll take your PVA and you'll place a long line along the edge down there. It's just one line of PVA. This will then secure it. Just for time, I'm going to use a hot glue gun just to speed this up so you haven't got to wait around for me to glue. If you haven't got glue or you haven't got a PVA, you can use sellotape. And so what that will mean is just using a small amount of sellotape at both ends just to hold it in place. So I'm going to glue these together. If you are using a glue gun, you need to be really careful that you don't burn yourself. If you do burn yourself, make sure you run your finger or where you've burnt underneath the tap for a minimum of 10 minutes. It's got to be cold water. Okay, so I'm holding that on there like so, and you'll end up with your first rabbit ear like this. We're then going to repeat this process and make a second ear of the rabbit. So just like before, you get your tube and you pinch one end all the way down the edge. And then again, we're just going to flatten it out a bit, and so we have another ear. I'm then going to attach that. This one's going to be attached just next to that original ear. Okay? So you can see the stamp forming already. So I'm going to put the glue on this one this time. Again, if you are using sellotape, just like before, you just need to put that small bit on the ends. If you are using a hot glue gun, please use your use parents or a guardian or someone who looks after you at home, because it is quite dangerous. Once you've done that, you will end up with a stamp that looks like a rabbit. Okay, this is where the paint comes in. So what I have done is I've put my blue paint onto this plate. Now I'm going to move it around slightly because my toilet rolls are quite large. Okay, so we need to make sure that it is big enough for the rabbit to be stamped into that paint. If you have got to move it around, please make sure you are doing it over that covered area and not over your nice furniture or anything. You could also put an apron on as well if you want, if you've got some. When you've moved your paint around, you are going to take your stamp and place it into that paint like so. Move it around just a little bit, and then the edge of your rabbit will be shaped like this. What we're then going to do is we're going to stamp it onto this paper. Just going to repeat mine so that there's more paint on there. If you have got to repeat it, just make sure it's lined up nice and neat. And again. You might have to do this a couple of times, it depends on how thick your paint is. If you've got quite watery paint, it will take a few more times. And what you'll get left with, I've got paint all over my hands, you'll get left with a rabbit outline that looks like this. Now you can repeat this so it fills the page, or you could leave little gaps. When this is dry, what you can do is you can then decorate it. So you could draw on the face, you can draw on the eyes, and you can make a scene. So you could put grass around it, you could draw Easter eggs. Maybe you could make some stamps, like I said, of flowers and place them around it. But you could also maybe make some Easter eggs and draw them on there as well. So there's loads of opportunities with these stamps, and all it is just using toilet rolls to make it. It's that simple. Once you've done that, wait for it to dry. Don't try and draw on it whilst it's wet because you will get covered in paint, and we don't want you to get all messy to that point. But I'd love to see what you are able to produce. So that is craft number 1. Okay, so we are ready for craft number 2. What we are going to do is we are going to do some handprints for bunny rabbits again today. So what we need for this is you need some more paper. Again, it doesn't have to be white, it can be whatever colour you've got around the house. We are then going to use paint. I've chosen purple and I've already put it onto my paper plate so it's ready to go. And then you also need a paintbrush. Now if you haven't got a paintbrush, don't worry about it. You could use maybe kitchen roll, you could use a piece of old cloth, you could use a sponge, whatever you've got. I'm sure you can make do with, but I'm going to be using a paintbrush for this. This one's really easy to do as well, and again it's just using things that you've got around the house. So what we are going to do is we are going to create a bunny rabbit handprint. So to do this we just need to paint these 4 fingers and the palm of your hand. You don't need to paint your thumb, okay? So that's why you can't just stick your hand straight into the paint and you've got to use something to paint it on there. So I'm going to paint my hands purple this time. So what you need to do is you need to put the paint onto your hand. You might need to use a parent or an adult to help you with this, so that it doesn't go everywhere. Okay, so you should get it like this. You want to make sure it's quite thick so that it does transfer onto the paper. So you should end up with something that looks like this. Now for a rabbit, it's got 2 ears, so you need to separate your fingers like this, and then we are going to print it. Now because your thumb's not got any paint on, it's alright to go down to the paper. So what you are going to do is you're going to get the paper and you are going to place your hands with your fingers apart onto that paper. So I'm going to put it flat so that I've got a hard surface to do it against. So you should end up with something that looks like this. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and wash my hands first of all, but then we're going to add some more paint to that one, the handprint that we've just done, so that we can make it look more effective. So bear with me 1 second. Okay, so I'm now going to show you how to make the little extra bits that we can stick on for your handprint that you have made. I've waited for mine to dry, so mine's all ready to go. I'm going to give you some ideas, but again with this one, just use whatever you've got around the house. Use all different types of creative bits and pieces. So you could use glitter, you could use felt tips, you could use fabric, whatever you've got, please use to make this look like a bunny rabbit. So some ideas that I have got is I've made some eyes for mine. So all that I have done is I've cut out 2 circles that are out of white paper, and I've drawn a little black dot in the centre of them for their eyes. Now you could do all different shapes and sizes for these, and then these can be stuck onto your rabbits. Another idea that I have had, so I've decided that mine's going to be wearing a bow, and so this bow will be made and it can be stuck between the 2 ears. You can make loads of different things like this. This is just by scrunching up some tissue paper, and I'm going to stick mine just between the ears there. But before I stick that in, I'm going to make some centerpieces to go onto my ears. These are just made out of paper, and they are similar to a flower petal shape that will be stuck onto those ears. So I'm going to start sticking some pieces on. Again, with yours, you can be completely creative. Use whatever you've got at home and make this bunny rabbit really, really stand out. And then remember, you can always draw whiskers on there. You can always draw the mouth and the nose using pens. Whatever you've got available, you can then use. So I'm going to stick mine on. You can use PVA, you can use blue tack, you can use a hot glue gun. Whatever you've got, it should stick onto the paint, and it will make it look really creative. So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so for craft number 3, the bits and pieces that we need are, we need a tin can that's been emptied and has had the label removed from it. If you need to remove a label from it, just run it under some hot water. It'll be best for you to ask a parent or an adult to do that for you so you don't burn yourself, and it should be able to just come straight off. You also need some glue. If you haven't got googly eyes, we can make some, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. You'll need 2 bottle caps. I'm going to be using the ones from my milk bottles. Please make sure they're empty though if you are going to use them before you do. Otherwise you can use bottle lids, anything that is circular and has got a shallow depth to them. You'll need some scissors. You might need a hole punch, depending on whether you've got googly eyes or not. Some wool, some string or ribbon will do. If you've got any tissue paper or crepe paper, that'll work as well. And then you also need some white paper, some black paper and some coloured paper as well. You don't need this amount, it's only 1 piece per colour, and then you'll be able to make it. So what I've done to begin with again is I've prepped my area, so I've put down some newspaper and I'm ready to go. So when you've collected all those bits and pieces, we'll then start the activity. So what we're going to be making is we are going to be making a storage tin that you can maybe put pens or pencils or anything that you've got, maybe some sweets and maybe your prized possessions, anything, you can put them in there and it'll keep them nice and safe. So to do this, we're going to start by making some eyes for it. We're going to make an owl pen storage. And so what we need is we need your 2 bottle caps, and then we are going to make eyes to go in there. If you haven't got PVA glue, you can use blue tack. Or again, you could use sellotape, double-sided tape if you've got it. or you could use a hot glue gun. So there's loads of different options, so please don't feel like you can't put this together because you haven't got PVA glue. There's loads of different ways to do this. We're going to start, if you haven't got any googly eyes, I'm going to show you how we could do this without googly eyes. So what you need is, you will need your white paper and you'll also need your black paper as well. Okay, like this. Now what you are going to do is you are going to use your bottle cap and you are going to draw around the outside of it. So I've done that already. Then what you are going to do is you'll fold that piece of paper over, like so. And you'll be able to cut that out. Now you'll need to cut just inside of the line so that it fits inside your lid. And if you fold it over, you'll only have to cut out once, so it makes it a little bit easier for you. So when you've cut them out, you'll end up with 2 circles that look just like this. What we're then going to do is we're going to stick them inside of your bottle caps. If you have got googly eyes, you can just go straight ahead and put your googly eyes inside of the eyes. So I'm going to just put a small drop of hot glue gun on there, just so it's quicker for me to show you what we are going to do. Okay, so just like before, if you are using hot glue gun, please make sure you get someone to help you. I'd hate for you to burn yourself during this. So we're just going to pop that in and secure it in place there. I'm going to do both of these in one go. So take the second one and just put a little bit of glue in the middle, or blue tack, or PVA, and then just stick in both of your eyes. Okay, so they are the white sections of the eyes. Then what you're going to do is similar to what you've just done. With the white paper, we're going to do it to create the black centerpieces of the eyes. So you can either do this, now depending on the size of your bottle caps, mine are quite big because they're milk cartons, but if they were slightly smaller, I could maybe use a hole punch and hole punch out some black parts of the eyes, but they'll be a bit smaller than mine. So what I have done is I have drawn a small circle onto the black paper, folded it over again, and then cut them out, and you'll get left with 2 more circles that look just like this. So we're going to stick them just inside the eyes, and that's done exactly the same way as when we stuck the white bits in. So a little bit of glue or blue tack, and then just place that inside. These don't have to be dead in the centre, they could be maybe a bit wonky, it doesn't matter, it'll add some character wherever those eyes are. And so you'll end up and you'll have your 2 eyes just like this for your tin can. For the moment, we're just going to put them to one side and we'll come back to them in a second. So if you do use PVA glue, it gives it time for them to dry. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to decorate your tin can. So I'm going to be using some string, but you can use whatever you've got. So if you've got crepe paper or tissue paper, you can stick that onto it, and you can put loads of sections. You could put that underneath your string or your wool or your ribbon, and it'll allow you to make a really fancy creative tin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a small amount of glue onto this tin here, just there. Now you do need to be careful with this because the tin will heat up if you are using a hot glue gun, so you need to be careful. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for that to dry. It won't take long. I'm going to start wrapping my string around the can. Now I don't want it to go on really neatly, I want it to go on a bit sporadically, like so. I'm just going to keep wrapping. Now my wool is multicoloured, so I won't need to add any more colour to this, but if yours is plain white string, you can paint it, you could put it in some colour and you'll get some fancy effects that way. Or you could use a different coloured paper and cards behind it and you'll be able to create it like that. So I have now wrapped my tin. I'm going to do this bottom section as well, just looking at it then. I just thought it needed a bit more. I might just put a little bit of glue on there just to secure it in place for the time being. Okay, put that there like that. Make it a bit easier for myself. Okay, so once you are happy with your tin being covered like so, okay, we are then going to cut the string so we know that we are done. This will then need securing in place just like before. So we've got our tin like that. We're then going to put a little bit of glue or sellotape or blue tack and it will secure it. So I'm just going to put that in. Like so. I'm going to use a pen just to hold it in place so I don't burn myself. Okay, so we've now decorated our tin like so. The next thing for our owl tin, our pen holder, is we are going to make some wings too on the sides. This is when you need your coloured paper. What you need to do is, you might need to ask a parent to help you with this, is just similar to the eyes, we're going to draw one shape of a wing. Okay, so it should look something like this. You then fold it and fold it over again, so that it's a repeated pattern, and cut that out. If you can choose any shape you want, you could do some with a jagged edge, and you could do a few layers. It's completely up to you. I've just gone for a really simple wing shape, just so it's quick and easy for you to see and get the idea of what you need to be doing. So these are the ones that I have cut out, and I'm now going to stick these onto my jar. So choosing one area, I'm going to put them at the top like so, and I'm going to glue them or blue tack them in place. So you just put a little bit of glue just at the top of that wing, like so, and then we're just going to place that on there, like that. Okay. And then we're going to repeat and do the exact same on the other side. Because both of your shapes have been cut out in one go, it makes it a little bit easier for you to do this. You want to make sure that both wings are opposite each other, so they're in the exact same place but on both sides of the tin, and then we'll have that sorted like that. What we're then going to do is we're going to attach the eyes that we've made. So these are going to go at the front of the tin, so that we've got the eyes ready and they're watching over your stuff to keep it safe. So again, you can use blue tack or you can use PVA, whatever you've got at home. Just put a bit of glue on there, and then we're going to just attach these to the front, like so. One, there's two, like so. So we've got our eyes. You might need to hold them in place for a little bit, especially if you're using PVA. If you're using blue tack, they should just hold. So you've got the start of your tin like so. Then what we're going to do is we're going to get some more coloured paper, and we're going to make a beak. So we're going to cut out some yellow paper. We're going to cut out a triangle. If you haven't got yellow paper, you can use whatever colour you want. These are some abstract owls that we are making. So using your scissors, you need to cut out a triangle you think is the right size beak for your owl. So this is the one that I'm going to be using, and I'm going to just slot that underneath, and I'm going to glue it in place. Now it's up to you whether you want to glue the whole thing down or whether you just want to do leave it so it's a bit of a flap on there as well. I'm just going to leave mine so it's got a flap, but again, it's completely up to you. It is your design at the end of the day. So what you end up with is you end up with your pen storage like so. Now if you want, you can add extra bits onto this. So like I said, you could edit the wings, you can make them look like they've got feathers, they've got jagged edges, you could put tissue paper underneath the string and the ribbon, you could maybe even make some feet for the owl, but this is now ready to go. So you can start storing your prized possessions, some pens, some equipment, whatever you've got lying around your room, and you can start putting it inside of your tin, and it will keep it nice and safe. So that is craft number 3. Okay. So there you go, there's 3 craft activities that you have created. We hope that you've enjoyed them, we hope that you have taken something away from each of them and had a really fun time doing them. So from the prints, the animal print stamps, to the hand prints, and to the final one, which is pen storage. I hope that you've enjoyed them. I hope you've had fun and you've done something together, maybe as a family or with your friends. But we hope that you have a lovely Easter. We're really sorry we can't be together, but please do know that we are thinking about you and praying for you. Please do share whatever you've made today, whether that's these activities or you've done your own Easter craft. Please do share. We'd love to see what you've been doing. We can't wait till Message Church is back on, but for the time, just know that we are praying for you, and we hope you have a lovely Easter. Thank you for joining me this morning. God bless.